I'm sure you've stopped scrolling whenever you see these property listings. 1.22M, next to MRT, big living spaces, but the worst part is, it's already more than 40 years old and only has 50 years left on the lease. One of my clients called me to say that she is absolutely in love with one of these condo developments and would like to buy a 2-bedroom apartment there. Like any self-respecting property salesperson worth their salt, I immediately asked these questions. Is it still worth buying such an old condo? Will the price still grow in 10 years' time if she wants to sell it? What are the other 40-year-old condo prices doing now? Have their prices already stopped growing for the past few years? Or were still already started to depreciate? If that's what you want to know, let's find out together. So all these condos, example, are built in around 1985 or even before that. So I've no doubt that in the earlier years, it must have been rising quite steadily. But what I'm just curious about is when it hit the last 5 years, 2020 to 2025, the growth stagnate, zero growth, or did it still go up quite steadily? Maybe every year, I don't know, maybe 3%? Or has it already been depreciating? Maybe already minus 3%. Okay, so I will be measuring this against 20-year-old condos. Okay, that means condos that have TOP sometime in maybe 2005, and then now, okay, now it's about 20 years already, the condos, right? So I'm also sure that they would have also risen steadily, okay, and maybe they haven't stagnated because they're still only about 20 years old, right? I want to see what is the difference in the growth rate. Okay, could it be that these 20-year-old condos are still, very healthily going up at 6%, or maybe this 40-year-old condos already have been, it's already growing, not even growing, already depreciating at minus 3 already? Then definitely I would think it would not be a good idea to buy the 40-year-old condos. So there are only a handful of 40-year-old condos in Singapore. So I've picked out Neptune Court, Bayshore Park, Mandarin Gardens, and Lake Point Condo. Okay, so for the 20-year-old condos, right, so what I have done is to look at the prices of all the 2-bedroom only, and these are projects with at least 300 units. Okay, so this is the first exercise, the first study I will do, and the second study will be because the condo in question is Far Horizon in the Yio Chu Kang area. This is the condo that my client wants to buy. So what I want to find out is, did Far Horizon already, from the last 5 years, 2020 to 2025, is the price growth already like that, already flatline already? Okay, when I compare it with maybe Bullion Park is a freehold property and also younger. So freehold, this Bullion Park, I'm sure it would have still been steadily rising, but not by a lot, but still rising. Seasons Park also, I would think it is still rising too. Okay, because it's not 40 years and above. It's it's about 30 years already. And also Castle Green, these two are also around the same, about 30 years old. So I just want to compare the price growth of all these 3 condos, which are all younger, with Far Horizon. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so now let's look at the trend analysis of all these 40-year-old condos and see how much they have grown annually for the past 5 years. Okay, so for Neptune Court, for the year 2020 to 2025, the last 5 years, overall it has grown 25%. So annually it's 4.58%. Okay, looks quite healthy. So for Mandarin Gardens, over the 5 years it grew 21%, and annually it's 3.93, also close to 4%. So for Bayshore Park, well, it grew by 7.49% for the last 5 years. I mean, for annually, for every year, for the last 5 years. So for Lake Point Condo, it grew by 2.77% annually. But let's compare it with the 20-year-old condos. So these are all the OCR condos. For the last 5 years, they grew in total 35%. So annually, they grew by 6.33%. So if I were to take the average, the 40-year-old condos, averagely, taking the 4 condos just now and then dividing by 4, the average growth was 4.69%. So For the 20-year-old condos, okay, it is 6.33%, which is not too bad. I would have thought that the 40-year-old condo will maybe only grow by, I don't know, 1.5% or something like that. Okay, but it's good to know that they have also grown and didn't lag behind by too much. Okay, let's look at the next exercise. Okay, so now let's look at the prices of the condos in the Yio Chu Kang area. Okay, to see what is the price growth for the last 5 years. The condo in question is Far Horizon Gardens. This condo is really more than 40 years old. So I would just like to compare it with the other condos that is surrounding it. And those condos are about 10 years younger. So I just want to see whether does the price lag behind by a great deal behind those younger condos or not. Okay, so let's take a look. So for Bullion Park, for the period 2020 to 2025, okay, the price growth was, wow, almost 50%, okay, which means every year it grew about 8.43%, okay, that's quite high. Maybe it's because it's a freehold condo. And for Castle Green, the prices grew by 9.9%, okay, wow, which is also quite high. That means, yeah, every year it grew by 9%, wow, okay. So again, just to remind everyone is that all these prices are prices of two-bedder condos in the area, okay, so that we are comparing apple to apple, and the comparison would be more accurate. So for Season Park, the annual growth in prices is 7.8%. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's look at Far Horizon. Okay, Far Horizon has grown by 6.72% every year for the last 5 years. Wow, which is not too bad. I would have thought that it is going to lag behind by 4 to 5%, but I think it's just lagging behind by about 1%, 1 or 2% from Seasons Park, which is 10 years younger. Maybe because of the fact that among all these condos, right, Far Horizon is the one that is nearest to the MRT. In fact, it's only like 5 minutes walk from the MRT. Okay, so there we have our answer. So the conclusion is, based on my findings, if I were to put myself in the shoes of my buyer who wants to buy a unit in the Yio Chu Kang area, which condo development would I buy? Personally, I will go for either Castle Green or Seasons Park because they are younger in terms of age, and it gives me a bit more peace of mind. But if I love Far Horizon for some reason, I will still go for it since the price growth for Far Horizon only lagged behind the Seasons Park by about 1%. I can live with that. And it's also nearer to the MRT. Of course, here I'm just trying to measure and project the future price the best that I can based on existing data that's available. It may not be the most accurate because nobody can really predict the future, but at least I've done my homework and I have a sense of where prices will be heading. So if you are keen to see more comparison videos, drop a comment and let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the meantime, take care and we'll talk soon.